Fix the recoil and it won't idle.
Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Husqvarna 576XP. As the man said, it needs some starter work and the customer complains that it won't idle. So as usual, we're going to look in the fuel tank and see what there is to see. I didn't see any water or anything in there, so we're just going to keep moving forward. If we got to come back to it and put a filter in it, we will. This top cover has 4 clips on it. We'll get them out of the way. Take a look under the hood.
It won't idle.
Oh my. If that's not the reason that it wasn't idling, it's a good argument for it. I have seen vacuum cleaners with better looking filters than that one.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
Yeah. And on top of it, we got a bunch of loose screws laying in there. Carburetor seems kind of loose. We'll get this nasty filter out of here and take a closer look. So I'm going to tell you right now that I was fooled a little bit here. Alright, I found those 2 screws laying in there, and we'll put them screws back in, but stick around to the end of the video and you'll find out if those are all the screws that I could have found. So if you're blowing this out like this, that little cover plate on top of the carburetor, metering diaphragm is underneath there. Don't blow air right into that little hole on that plate. You could damage the metering diaphragm. Now we got to decide if we're going to move forward with this repair. Take a look in the cylinder. It must have been good. I'm screwing the spark plug back in. We know the starter needs attention, so we're going to pop that off. What's the first thing we see in there? Take a look on the fin. Hey, you can't see it very well, but the fin closest to the magnet right there, it's broken. And I'm just wondering if that's creating enough of a vibration that would have helped back those screws out of there. Now, it's not uncommon to find screws missing on big Husky chainsaws.
That's why them screws came out.
But there's quite a few of them here. So I'm going to Loctite them back in place. I think the torque spec on this one is crank it till it strips and then back it off a quarter turn. So that's 3 screws that hold that, I don't know, that underbelly pan for the carburetor. I'm not sure what they call that. This one I just put in goes through the grounding strap for the kill switch, so don't miss that. We'll finish tightening these down. And then this other one, boy, I missed it. Did I already tighten it? I had to use the 4mm, here we go, the 4mm ball head wrench, because you can't get a straight shot at that bolt. So now that I have looked in the cylinder, seen what there is to see, I'm pretty confident we're moving forward repairing this thing and sending it out the door. We're going to look at, pay a little bit more attention to detail on some things. Although not everything, as it turns out. And we're going to put a new fuel filter in it. Now someone along the way at least has done a little bit of maintenance on here, because that filter I just cut off wasn't a Husky original filter. Alright, we feel pretty good about what's going on in the fuel tank. Or feel pretty good about the way the cylinder looked. We're going to check the air gap between the ignition module and the flywheel. That was good. Now we're going to do our starter repair. We just got to replace the rope. So this plastic pulley looks like it's got a crack in it, and the rope caught in the crack, and actually it looks like it's been going on for a while. But why would you bother fixing a frayed rope if the saw still starts, right? So we're gonna have to put a new pulley on it and a new rope. We'll cut the old rope off the handle. First we got to fish it out of there. And I burnt the end of the rope. You know, I held it in a towel, heated up the end, and then pulled the rope through the towel, and that left a nice crisp end on it. We'll put a single overhand knot in the rope, and that'll be enough to keep it from pulling through the starter pulley. So in this case, this starter has a metal band around the center post of the starter housing. I'm just going to clean it up and put the plastic pulley right onto that post dry. As much debris and dirt as I'm seeing around this saw, I'm afraid if I grease it, it's just going to collect that dirt, and that's going to work as sandpaper to grind away at that plastic pulley, and maybe it won't last as long. I think just a dry plastic pulley on that metal sleeve should last a while. So we're going to drop the rope into that little slot on the pulley, give it a couple winds, push the rope through the eyelet in the starter cover, and put a loose knot on the end of the rope after we pass it through the handle. Reason I say that is I don't know how long the rope's going to be yet. There may be a spec for cutting it to length, but I never play that game. I like to wind them up as full as they can be on the pulley without the rope rubbing on the outer shell there of the starter outside of the pulley. So it looks like I found that sweet spot right about there. Now we're going to, that's where we're going to put the knot in the rope to hold the handle right there. It probably was better ways to do it than I just did, but how do you argue with results, right? On this one, we're going to use a figure 8 knot. It's a little bit bigger, just an overhand knot, and there's room for it in that handle. Now, once you decide that you got the right length of rope, pull the entire length of rope out and make sure that when it's all the way out, the starter pulley still could turn farther if it had to. What we don't want is that you can't pull it out any farther because you've got the spring wound tight. You don't want to be pulling against a bottomed out spring. Alright, that pretty much completes the starter repair. We'll just put this air conductor back on it. And then we'll give the rope a little bit of a pull. Get that pulley to engage into the starter pawls on the flywheel. Put a fresh air filter on. What a concept, eh? And we're going to give it a try, see what it does. It really wasn't that impressive, was it? Something's still wrong with this thing.
What the hell?
And I really didn't notice it before, but that carburetor is... It just seems a lot looser with the air filter on there. I guess I just got more leverage on it and I was able to further move it. But now those two screws, I don't remember them coming out when I took the top cover off, but there's one of them laying on the bench and I had to source the other one. Anyway, we'll get them two screws drawn down tight and tighten up the two upper screws on the carburetor as well. And then we'll give it another try and see how it runs. So that's all I got for you on the Husqvarna 576XP. Fix the starter and it won't idle repair. Thanks for watching. Later.